Flips. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to learn to flip or wholesale property and how to make the most money. So, we're talking about the most important room in the house, which is the kitchen. And yesterday, I sort of described why it's the most important room in the house. And then I just told you yesterday, if you want to see yesterday's video or whatever, previous video, that I consider a kitchen to have four parts to it. It's the floors and the walls, which we're going to talk about today, which is the least important of the four parts. It's the appliances, second to least important. The countertops, second to most important, and then the cabinetry. So we're talking about floors and walls. So what does that mean? So I go into a lot of kitchens where the floors look fine, and the walls, which really mostly means that the walls of the kitchen and the backsplash. Now we're not talking about size of the kitchen or placement of the kitchen. That's completely different and can be a much more expensive prospect to move a kitchen or even make a kitchen bigger, which I've done. But the walls and the floor are the least important. Now, what do I look for? So if you're looking at old linoleum floors, some people don't know what those are. It's big in the 50s, 60s. They're like, it's a roll of crap. And sometimes they're linoleum tiles, which you see all the corners roll up, or it just looks disgusting. If I see linoleum, I say I'm going to have to put in a new floor. I generally want to put in a backsplash. A backsplash is some kind of tile that goes between the upper cabinets and the lower cabinets. And the reason why this is the least important is because it's relatively inexpensive. In other words, there isn't that much floor in most kitchens. Even if you have a big kitchen, you're talking about, a few hundred square feet of tile. And the biggest kitchen is even going to have, a few hundred square feet of backsplash, usually much less. Usually you're talking about 50 square feet of backsplash and, 100 square feet of flooring. That's the kind of size you're usually dealing with. So you have to have in mind what you're going to do. Now, in general, and there's exceptions to all these rules, you want to put in tile in the kitchen, right? And you want to put tile underneath the cabinets. So if you're redoing the cabinets, you want to demo out the cabinets, and then you want to put the floor in. Now, which is the opposite of most flooring. Most flooring you want to do last because crap that's going to get done on the walls is going to end up on the floor. But with the kitchen floor, you want the cabinets to sit on top of the tiles. In general, also, you want bigger tiles. It makes rooms look bigger. But if your floor isn't completely even, you want to do smaller tiles because big tiles, and I've done 18 by 18 tiles, they will crack if it's not perfectly even. And smaller tiles will sort of fit that hole. Fit the uneven space. So if it's not really even and your contractor says, listen, the floor is not great, once we tile it, it'll look okay, don't do big tiles. Do smaller tiles, right? 8 by 8 tiles, that kind of thing. And backsplash really, so I used to do these fancy mosaic tiles that we used to get at Home Depot, and they were like $12 a square foot. But we were doing 40, 50 square feet, so it didn't matter that much. But it really doesn't matter. Today, people are big on the subway tile, which is just rectangular tiles, which can be tiled there. They're cheap. They're easy. Just do them right. Don't fuck up on a backsplash where people are going to see, the tile sticking out or crooked. That's not good. So if you're using a contractor who maybe is not always the most meticulous, you should tell them, be very careful on this backsplash. I need that to look perfectly, or I need it to look perfect. So tell them that, and if he says something like, haha, say, I'm not joking. I need it to be perfect. Spend an extra few hours on that if you need to, and if it's a little more than we agreed on, I'll pay you. So get the backsplash right, get the floors right. But in general, if you told me that if you showed me a kitchen that had great cabinets, great appliances, and great countertops, had a shit floor, I would say, I'll figure out how to get that shitty floor out and get a nice floor in easy, right? I've had situations like that, but usually shitty floors are combined with crappy cabinets, bad appliances, and bad countertops. That's just how it is most of the time. So the floors and the walls are not that important in the big scheme of things. And the reason why these things are most important is because they're the least expensive, and because most people, if they came into a kitchen, it was beautiful cabinetry, beautiful appliances, beautiful countertops, and the floor was bad, they would probably say something like, we can redo the floor, right? People aren't going to say that about some of the other things we're going to deal with in the next few days as we do the other three components. So it's something that I'll do, right? I have a house now that I'm thinking about doing the kitchen, and then it's got this crappy linoleum floor which goes all the way through to a whole way into a bathroom, and I may have to do that. I may have to just tile the whole thing. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but my point is that it's the least important, but it's something you need to be aware of, and it's something you shouldn't just discount, right? It would be stupid I would tell you to be stupid to redo a whole kitchen, to do all the other three components that we discussed, countertops, cabinets, and appliances, and not take care of the floor. But I've also had houses where the tiles look bad and I really cleaned them up and then it wasn't so bad. So it's the least important of the four, but it's something you need to be aware of when you're looking at a kitchen. And again, the kitchen is the most important room in the house. It's the first place I look at. If anybody sends me pictures of a potential property to buy and they don't send me pictures of the kitchen, I get a little bit upset with them, because to me it's foolish to think that there is any more. Is there any more important part of the property? It is the main focus for a lot of people. That's where people are going to congregate. That's where people are going to cook. That's where people are going to hang out. So I hope this was helpful. I am adding a few people to coach one-on-one. If you're interested, you can go to biggerflips.com, or you can go to my coaching page, which is probably listed below. And I'd love to help in any way I can. I am an open book. I am here to help. I hope everything I told you today is helpful, and we're going to continue this series for the whole week. So the next 3 days, we're also going to talk about the most important room in the house, which is the kitchen. So thank you for watching. Please keep the comments coming. I post 5 times a week. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Just post a comment. It does not have to be about the video you're watching at all. It can be about anything. If it's something quick, I'll just reply with an answer. If it's something I've covered recently, I'll send you a link to a video on it. If it's something I haven't covered before, or I haven't covered in a while, I'll do a brand new video on it. So thank you very, very much for watching.